choosing us. Lawyer and Senior Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bentil, is urging the current government and President John Dramani Mahama to capitalize on the overwhelming goodwill they currently enjoy from Ghanaians to implement bold, transformative economic reforms. He believes this support presents a unique opportunity for the president to make tough but necessary decisions that, while challenging, will ultimately drive the country's development without facing major public backlash. He spoke on Newsfile with Samson Ladiayenini.
I heard you talk about it. That's sensible, like you said. But you said, you made a point. You said, oh, that money that was saved should be put to some chips compound in your village. That's not what will happen. I am saying we have hope that it will work. And there is no reason why it should not work. There is so much goodwill that this government can do so many difficult things and it will get a pass. So I'm simply saying, use the goodwill. Okay? Take the people along, explain the situation, okay? And then do the things that you need to do. You have 2 years, all right? And I am hoping that really we will get to that point. So I'm still hopeful.
Physician and political activist Dr. Arthur Kennedy says the campaign is over. It's time for action. He stresses the need for accountability, not just talk, warning that without real action, past wrongs may go unpunished.
The president's information person sounds like he was really litigating the campaign a little bit. The campaign is over. I think at this stage we should be doing accountability and executing. You know, all these people, you know, I saw these charts about Bank of Ghana building with estimates that have tripled. Nobody is asking questions. We're talking about banking reforms that led to closure of some banks. We need accountability. Accountability as in putting people in the dock to answer questions. Why was this done? Why was that done? And at the end of the day, we must punish some people.
We also heard from the former ambassador to the Netherlands, Tony Edu, who says enough of the talk.
Get up in the morning and talk and no action. My point of departure is Dr. Arthur Kennedy's observation about our SOEs. Ghana Airways and Ethiopian Airlines started the same year. Ethiopian Airlines have hundreds of planes in flight. Ghana Airways is dead. Why? Like Arthur Kennedy said, we don't employ the expertise to manage our SOEs. We don't encourage our graduates, after they've done their national service at the ministries, they are thrown back to the streets.
The Deputy Managing Director of Tema Oil Refinery, Edmund Gov't Esquire, has stated that President John Dramani Mahama is committed to revamping the refinery and making it operational despite inheriting a debt of $570 million. TOR has been non-operational since 2019, forcing Ghana to import refined oil at an estimated cost of $400 million per month. Speaking on Joy News at the legal green soiree held at the University of Ghana, Gov't emphasized the government's commitment to undertaking maintenance and repairs to restore the refinery to full operation.
So basically, the Tema Oil Refinery, both the CDU and the RFCC, has not run from 2019 and 2021. So the refinery has not run. It's been dormant. It literally has been turned into a tank farm. President Mahama came when he appointed us, we went there. The refinery has a debt of $570 million that was left by the previous government. It is in disrepair. It needs a lot of maintenance, turnaround maintenance that has not been done. But the refinery is a strategic national asset. It is something that when attention is paid to, it can actually be an important ingredient in our country's economic recovery. The CDU and the RFCC combined capacity is 45,000 metric tons. And there was a new furnace that was bought by President Mahama between 2015 and 2016. If that furnace is commissioned, it will send the barrels per stream day to 60,000. And if that happens, the refinery can do between 45 to 60% of the national need. And when that happens, it means that it will have the amount of dollars that we need every month to import refined petroleum product. Because currently, we spend $400 million importing refined petroleum product. When TOR is back, that number is going to be halved.
Edmund Combat further revealed that the government plans to expand TOR's capacity by constructing an additional 100,000 barrel refinery to meet the country's full demand.
And then there is plans to expand the refinery capacity and build an additional 100,000 barrels refinery to be able to meet the national need.
Aside this, are there strategic plans in place to make sure that we get TOR to work? Since 2019, it has not been working at a full capacity.
Yes, there are strategic plans in place. We already have a lot of investors who have expressed interest to come to work with us. The government itself is very committed in injecting funds into the refinery. So we are drawing a roadmap on a turnaround maintenance, and we are expecting that between the next 6 to 9 months, we should see the refinery back.
Let's head to Parliament, where the majority and the minority leaders have taken aim at each other in their concluding remarks on the debate of John Dramani Mahama's State of the Nation address presented to Parliament. MPs have this week debated the content of the President's address, with the debate divided on strict partisan lines. The minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, in his debate took on the President for failing to account for what was bequeathed to him by the erstwhile Akufo-Addo government.
What the President failed to do was to acknowledge that the Dumso legacy was resolved when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo took office. What the President failed to tell Ghanaians was that the banking sector crisis, which he blamed Bank of Ghana for, was resolved by the Akufo-Addo government. What the President failed to tell Ghanaians, that in spite of all the crisis, MPP managed to introduce the free SHS policy and sustain it for 8 years. In fact, the President could not single out any policy initiative that had been introduced by the MPP and implemented successfully. He was even in a hurry to claim credit for a budget he came to meet, which budget is enabling him to manage the economy. Since he came, Mr. Speaker, the very taxes that he used, he said Ghanaians were suffering from the payment of e-levy and other taxes. These are the revenues that they are using to celebrate the Independence Day. The revenues from these taxes are the ones that the government is using to fuel its cars. In fact, all expenses that are being made in this administration are as a result of revenues from the very taxes you are complaining about.
But the majority leader, Mahama Ayariga, pushed back strongly, insisting that the President was candid in his address and also that he laid out his blueprint on taking Ghana to the next level.
But John Dramani Mahama has assured Ghanaians that fiscal prudence is going to guide him. The resources of Ghanaians will be put to better use, and he has started demonstrating it. He has given us a lean government. He has given us a lean presidential staffers number. And just yesterday, he gave us a lean celebration of the independence anniversary. Mr. Speaker, let me say that The debate about the size of government is not simple political rhetoric. Mr. Speaker, the President has lamented over the state of infrastructure. We have a $37 billion infrastructure deficit per annum. If this country is going to catch up with its competitors and do well and create jobs, we need to fill that gap. And that is why I say President John Dramani Mahama brings hope, because he has promised a big push in infrastructure.
Away from Parliament, peace in the Nkwanta South municipality comes at a staggering cost of 4 million cedis for just 3 months. That's the amount the OT Regional Minister John Kojo Japon says his administration needs to maintain law and order in the troubled area. Now, it may be recalled that 3 people were killed, 7 houses set ablaze, and several residents fled the area in renewed ethnic conflicts in January. Well, the regional minister has made a passionate appeal to chiefs and residents to prioritize peace. Peter Seno reports.
You see, when there is no peace, there's no development. Yeah, people are running away from Nkwanta. Like you said, it's coming down, and we will not want it to come down. And I am very confident that when it comes, to an extent that we have to do something to save Nkwanta, I am confident that the president will support us to do it. We'll do everything possible to bring calm to Nkwanta by all means. I was checking from our budget, if there's any budget at all to run, and there's no budget, but there's, a budget that is looking for 4 million cedis for a period of time to take, to calm down, Nkwanta, peace at Nkwanta.
You're still watching JoyNewsPrime. We'll be back with more. Please stay tuned in. So stay with us. Now, behind the high walls of the James Camp prison, a silent transformation has taken place. Inmates are learning to craft high-quality boots and shoes, all thanks to one woman's vision. Equiasa Opariasare, CEO of Dinkra Trends, is not just making footwear. She's giving prisoners a second chance at life. Through her initiative, inmates are gaining skills that will help them to reintegrate into society after serving their time. As we celebrate International Women's Day, Sheila Saki puts a spotlight on the remarkable work of Equiasa Opariasare.
On our recent out and about in Accra, we make a stop at one of the sensitive areas in town. We're here to visit the CEO of Dinkra Trends, and we're eager to know how she ended up in prison. Driven by hope, Equia Asa Opariasare, the CEO of Dinkra Trends, ventured into fashion to fulfill her childhood dream of becoming a fashion powerhouse. That dream was quickly diverted after an encounter with a young inmate whose life was left in the drains after prison.
Dinkra Trends was established in 2013 as a response to the pressing need to enhance the country's production capacity and also train and provide jobs for the youth. Over the years, we have grown from a small startup, and we are now beginning to establish footprints in a very challenging area, that is production of shoes and boots for security officers.
So she joined forces with the Ghana Prison Service under the Efiase project, which seeks to train prison inmates and provide them with employable skills.
Our project with the Ghana Prison Service has the objective of providing critical training to the youth to aid in their reintegration in society, as a lot of prisoners are young people.
Now, she trains prisoners in the production of boots and shoes.
I've been here 1.5 years. When I leave here, I will go and open a small shop.
If I'm coffee up here, 51 years. Maybe 2 years in. If you know, this one here. This is just the beginning.
again in Edinkra Trends. They intend to add more hope to lives, especially the lives of inmates, adding value to people's lives, improving livelihoods, promoting development.
Well, she was born into a traditional farming family and naturally developed a love for agriculture. But her love grew beyond the use of hoes and cutlasses to include operating tractors on farmland. 28-year-old Peace Ayiku is looking at crushing boundaries of tradition to venture into a space long dominated by men, agriculture, mechanism. As we celebrate International Women's Day, my colleague Emmanuel Jivenu traveled to Adidome Farm Institute and filed this report.
It is a quiet revolution taking place, fueled not by defiance, but by determination. Young ladies from the Adidome Farm Institute, in a field long dominated by men, agriculture mechanization.
For me, the one that makes me more happy, though I started with farming, with the mindset of farming, but when I got here and trying laying hands on the machines, it seems I love the machines more than.
Breaking barriers, challenging stereotypes, and yearning to modernize agriculture, these promising students are crushing the notion that some fields are reserved for one gender.
They mostly say that what is men's work that ladies cannot do. What men can do, women can do it more. It's not just a saying. I saw it on telly myself, a lady operating a JCB. And so I was like, meaning is real, that what men can do, we can also do it better.
As they maneuver through the fields, they are not just operating a tractor, but steering a path towards a future where gender does not determine one's role in agriculture.
If I am able to undergo this training and I complete, let's say I tend to do my own farming, I know how to operate my machines, it will make it very easy for me.
These ladies, challenging norms and plowing their way into a brighter, gender-inclusive future for agriculture in Ghana. Emmanuel Jivenu, JoyPrime.
Ghana's Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Oboko-Agyemang, has called for accelerated action towards women's equality as the nation joins the world to mark International Women's Day. In a message shared on social media, she emphasized the need for increased representation and support for women, stressing that women's empowerment is a national imperative. Well, she urged collective efforts to break barriers and create opportunities, ensuring that every Ghanaian woman and girl has the freedom to dream, the power to achieve, and the support to excel. Well, stay with us for more on that.
Ghanaian women are the backbone of our families, communities, and economy, of course. Whether in our markets, in the boardrooms, classrooms, farmlands, or on the beaches, women continue to drive innovation, nurture growth, and shape the future of our country. Our contributions to business, to governance, education, healthcare, and the sciences are invaluable. And as a nation, we owe it to ourselves to create an ecosystem where everyone can thrive without imposed limitations. Over the years, we have made significant strides in advancing gender equality and empowering women. Under our current leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we have taken bold steps and remain dedicated to ensuring that women have the opportunities, resources, and the support needed to excel.
The Chief Executive Officer of the African Energy Consortium, Lawyer Kwame Jandra, has asserted that increasing women's representation in governance will significantly reduce corruption and related activities in Ghana. According to him, while both men and women take risks, women tend to be more cautious and principled in decision-making, making them better suited for leadership roles that drive economic growth and national development. Speaking at the Petrosol Women in Leadership Conference to mark International Women's Day, Mr. Jantwa condemned the pervasive culture where men demand sexual favors from women in exchange for jobs and leadership positions. Semifab Gasu has more in the following report.
2025 Petrosol Women in Leadership Conference was dedicated to celebrating women, especially those in the petroleum industry, and building their capacities. This year's conference was on the theme Accelerating Exponential and Sustainable Growth, the Role of an Energized Woman. The Chief Executive Officer of the African Energy Consortium, Lawyer Kwame Jantwa, has called for deliberate efforts to break systemic barriers and empower more women to take up leadership positions.
Women have made strides in this country. Those strides they have made, has it made an impact going forward? I think it should make more of an impact than it has done now. And sometimes you might say men are the culprits. But if you have a woman who is forceful, a woman who knows how to handle herself, most importantly, a woman who has command of the English language and can speak her way through, argue her way through, and make her point in such a way that it doesn't look threatening, then you would find women move up.
He has, however, condemned the increasingly pervasive culture of men demanding sex from women in return for job opportunities and positions.
Why, if a woman is capable of doing something, why do you want to sleep with her before she does it? Which comes first? Is it the establishment or is it your personal interest? And I find that that personal interest thing stops a lot of women from moving forward. And it has to be talked about. Women have to be able to talk about it because it affects them.
The Chief Executive Officer of Petrosol, Michael Bozumbio, has called for a cultural shift, stressing that from a young age, men are trained to occupy leadership roles while women are conditioned to keep only the home.
Because we know that this industry is, a highly technical industry, and it is also male-dominated. Women have capabilities, to excel. However, over the years, we've seen, just a few women, operating in the industry, especially when it comes to rising to the top. And we want to change that as a company.
Petrosol is looking forward to increasing the current percentage of women occupying managerial positions in the company. Semmefa Bisu's report for Joy News.
Well, that's how we wrap up Joy News Prime. Thanks for staying with us. Good evening.